Hello again, friends. This is the middle of the month, that means some new characters. This time, as you can see, Halloween characters. My game loaded up onto my homepage, so I've instantly been spoiled by Halloween Lich here. But we still have two new characters, it seems, as well. Presumably Halloween ones. I think this is the only Halloween characters we're getting, because I think they'll be gone by the time of Legfest at the end of the month. But yeah, anyway, we have Halloween Lich in Wind. Be funny if she was just as OP as our grand version, but we'll see. And then we have Halloween Mugen, okay, in Light. And Halloween Florence, also in Light, okay. Let's go take a look. Let's take a look at their weapons first, as we usually do. So, Lich's weapon, Toothache and Suffering, it's a good name for that. Unworldly Ogi, multi-attack rate, debuff. Oh no, it's a buff to fully multi-attack rate, okay, weird. Axe's Wrath, Axe Voltage 2, and supplement Wind Allies CA damage, based on how high their HP is. I mean, it's not pain and suffering. It's obviously not. I don't remember how big this is. I think this is like 400k usually, thereabouts. But axes in light, in wind rather. The only one I can even think of is the new Ra axe, which I don't think is even that great to begin with, so unless they plan to add like a bunch of good axes to wind, don't think this is super useful. I mean, you might use it just for this if you're using an Ogi team maybe, but who knows. Mugen's weapon, Small Majesty, Small Aegis, no FLB, but that could be pretty useful if you're wanting a bunch of HP in light. And Florence's weapon is just stamina, whatever, okay. Let's just go in order. Let's start with Lich, who is in Wind. So her Ogi is massive wind damage to foe, 20% boosted Lich's charge bar, 1 turn cut to skill cooldowns, okay. 6 hit wind damage to a foe, nice, because LER beaks are a thing. Remove 1 buff, hit 2 attack and defense stackable. Based on caster's number of debuffs, hit number increases, so that's very similar to her grand version as well. Well, not really, I mean, the hit number increasing is similar to her grand version, but that was her passive skill nuke, which didn't have this stuff attached to it, so this is if this has some kind of autocast, then this will be very good. Hit to all foes and allies, earth attack and wind defense. Poison effect, putrefy effect, that's exactly the same as her grand version, except just swapping out the elements to be more appropriate. Skill 3, play undead effect to caster. Can't normal attack and end the turn 20% boost to Lich's charge bar. Activate Haunted Spectre. Excuse me. Okay, so this does auto-activate if you use this. And support skills. Wind allies gain these effects in order based on their number of debuffs. Convert some turn-based damage to HP recovery, boost charge bar gain, boost to attack, and boost to damage cap. Nice. I'm going to quickly go on the wiki. It is updated so we can see some numbers. At end of turn when Lich's charge bar is 50% or higher, consume 30% of charge bar to deal wind damage to all foes and delay effect. Interesting. So she seems pretty good. Pretty similar to her grand version as well. And obviously not quite exactly the same. She does have some... I mean, she doesn't get everything for free. I mean, she gets an extra nuke on top of this one. But it costs 30% bar. So she gets 20% from this, and then she loses 30% from this. So that's a... So she's effectively losing 10% every turn. Which, I mean, if you're not using Kengo, that means she might have trouble ogieing super often. You're going to want to ogie twice, I believe, if you want this to have 100% uptime, but even then, like, having a turn or two downtime is not the worst. But let's look at some numbers if we have them. We don't. Okay, so don't know what these are. I'm going to assume that these are probably pretty decent. This is probably either a unique or a perp attack mod. This is probably, I would say, at least 20% cap. Don't know about... Obviously, don't really know about this. I think this one usually comes to about 1,000 or something. Charge bar again, who knows, but that might actually... Now that I think about it, that probably helps her with her... losing charge bar every turn, but so just this alone gives you what, 4 debuffs, so that's presumably all you need, because there's only 4 things listed here, so I don't think you need more than that. But like, so this has a dispel attached to it and auto activates every turn, as well as stackable attack and defense debuffs. So this alone is probably going to be really nice for Guild War. And she has like auto delay as well if she has more than half her charge bar, so yeah. Not a whole lot to say other than that, hey, it's Lich, but wind this time. It's depending on how good these other 2 characters are, I might be tempted to pull, because I'm going to say that you're probably going to want her for you're probably going to want her for Wind Guild War next month. So yeah, yeah, just not much to say other than, hey, it's Lich, who has a bunch of like useful stuff for like Guild War. Like I said, dispels and delays are very nice, especially because you can get them pretty much every turn. But let's look at Mugen in light. I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say that he probably works well with Nehan. I don't understand why they'd put him in light otherwise, since his character is very tied to Nehan. So let's see how that turns out. Ogi, massive light damage to foe, restore light allies HP. Cool. Do we have numbers on that? No, we don't. Wiki is not completely updated yet. But skill 1, caster substitutes for a selected ally. Dark damage reduction, convert damage taken to dark damage. Okay. Not an all ally sub, like his original version, but... Well, does mean you can't use him full auto though, because it's a selectable one. Skill 2, boosted light allies attack, light attack, critical hit rate, and a damage cap. Amplify normal attack damage. 30% hit to target allies max HP. I don't quite understand the wording here. Like, it gives these buffs to your entire team, but then there's this target ally, this thing. Does that just mean all of them as well, or Anyway, tricky constitution effect to caster, undying effect 3 times, 30% hit to max HP. Attacks made with elemental superiority have a chance to deal boosted damage, can be removed. Maximum amount of damage can be, so damage cap. And then guts. Okay. More likely to be targeted, 6 hit light damage to random foes upon taking damage, that's cool. Bonus light damage effect to light allies with a hit to max HP, 30% or more. Boost to effect based on size of hit. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to work under the assumption that this just gives... This applies to all of your allies. So yeah, this works super well with Nehan, because you get amplified. Honestly, she might... This Mugen here would probably replace like your your light potato or Hao Mao in that setup perhaps, because like he gives damage cap, which is presumably not going to stack with light potatoes one. Plus he gives echoes as well, because he's going to lower everyone's HP by 30%, which is going to give echoes. If he gets hit, that's some extra damage there as well. Like he seems very good. You could substitute for Nehan to stop him from being knocked out, if maybe, or someone else, because Nehan does damage on dodge as well. Who can say? Like, my initial thing, he seems like he'd be a pretty core fit for that team. Like normally it would be Viking is the go-to, Nehan, Grand Jean, and light potatoes Zaha. I can never remember her actual name. The Yukata Harvin character, or Summer Hao Mao if you don't have her. But based on what I'm seeing here, Mugen probably replaces that last one, just because there's a lot of overlap in their kits. Plus he seems like he brings some extra stuff as well, just because he gets this extra stuff, which I don't know if this is like an assassin or what, but I would need to see some actual like showcases, see some like damage comparisons and stuff. But I'm gonna say you probably want him for your Nehan burst in light. Yeah, like hard to say without seeing like actual numbers. Like I said, the character pages are up on the wiki at the time that I'm recording this, but the actual like numbers of like buffs and all that sort of stuff aren't actually updated yet. So, but based on what I'm seeing, like I said he would probably go well with Nehan, and it looks like he does, so that's cool. Again, not a whole lot to say. Like, I don't think he would use him outside of like Nehan burst setups really. Maybe just some like super niche stuff that I'm not thinking of, but yeah, he seems pretty good. And then finally, Florence. Can we get 3 for 3 on great Halloween characters this year? So her Ogi is massive light damage to foe, armor effect to light allies, Aurora Crest to Florence. Oh, excuse me, so she's a Crest character. Sharp boost on light allies attack, consume 40% of that allies max HP. I'm guessing that's an assassin. Sharp attack usually indicates an assassin. Increase all foes' max charge diamonds, hit to attack, multi-attack rate and accuracy, okay. 14 turn, that's a pretty big cooldown. I mean, this is good, but I'm not sure if that quite warrants such a high cooldown. Instantly a standby to a light ally, end cooldown for skills, consumes 5 Aurora Crests. Okay, that could be pretty good. Boosted light allies critical hit rate based on their number of Aurora Crests. Takes effect even when Florence is a sub-ally. That's nice. When a dark ally is almost knocked out at the end of turn, dark damage reduction effect to all allies. Okay, pretty simple kit here. I would say probably not as good as the other two ones we just saw, but probably has some use. I was gonna say this maybe seems like it could be used in like a burst setup with like Mugen because of this max HP thing, which means that they would get echoes. But my only this is really nice, obviously, but the cooldown is huge and it consumes Aurora Quests. This is not super a big deal really, especially if you're using like Valentine's Agloville, because you can get Aurora Crests pretty easily in light. This would be nice for sub-ally stuff, obviously. Like just stick her in the background, get some passive crit rate. If you're using again, if you're just I was going to say a crest team, but the light crest team is just any team with Agloville on it. So, but honestly, not super feeling her, to be honest. This has potential because it has a pretty low cooldown as well. So there's maybe some setups that would be this nice for this. This is honestly, this would be amazing if it had like, if it still had the 5 Aurora Crest consumption requirement, but was like 0 or like 1 turn cooldown or something. Like if you could just use this as often as you could get 5 crests on her, like she would be amazing. But I think just this, I'm gonna assume this goes down to like 10 turns maybe. No, it doesn't. It just stays at 12. Okay. So, and with this being 12 turns as well, once you've leveled her up, like she doesn't seem bad, but like I don't. She's in that tier of just like very middling seasonal character where I don't think you'd really use her if you have better options, really. So yeah, I'm not, honestly not super impressed. Like I said, this, if you had a way to do this more often, she would rock it up in usefulness, honestly, because instant standby plus ending cooldown is really good. But yeah, otherwise, some nice utility here. Like I said, really low uptime on it just because of the cooldown. This is nice, just stick her in the backline for this. This is probably not super impactful, really. That's the Halloween characters for this year. Like, 2 really good ones. Like, I honestly kind of tempted to go for Lich, because it is Guild War next month, and I predict that she's probably going to be super useful in the higher Nightmare tiers, just because she can put out so many dispels and delays automatically every turn. Nehan seems really, really strong for light burst teams. Like I said, I'm not a theory crafter, but I'm going to predict he probably is core in Nehan burst at this point. Like he probably replaces that kind of Yukata Potato / Summer Hao Mao spot. Although saying that, it depends on how his echoes from his 30% max HP hit thing. If it depends on how that stacks with other things, like maybe you replace Summer Jean if it doesn't stack with her passive echoes. Who knows? But I think either way, like regardless, like I think he has a spot in that team in some form. So he's very good. Lich is Lich is Lich. It's very good. Florence I'm not super hot on, but maybe has some uses that I'm not seeing. But I think her cooldowns are just kind of the big thing is holding her back. But all in all, it's not bad. Usually, I think our Halloween characters, there's usually like one like pretty decent one and the rest are kind of whatever. But I think this year that's like 2 very, very solid characters that you probably want to try and get if you can. Don't take that as drawing advice, as pulling advice. Like I'm not saying, hey, go pull for them. You should pull for them. You know, pull for who you want to pull. I don't want to be that kind of person who says you should definitely pull for this character, and it turns out that character is not really that worth pulling for. But I am tempted to pull for Lich personally, but we'll see how it all turns out once people have done their testing and theory crafting and what have you. But thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out, cheerio.